Hey there, back on my couch. Welcome back to the Young Black Professional. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting. I'm Olivia, and let's just hop right into this video.
Oh my, okay, so we're recording right now. So, hi, this is editing me, and I realized in addition to losing footage on this one, I have also lost a great deal of actual information. So, if anything seems a little disjointed in this video, I've tried to piece it together the best that I can, and where I couldn't piece it together, I've tried to insert diagrams. If you can't see the diagrams for whatever reason, I'll post them onto my Instagram stories. I am at the Young Black Professional on Instagram, and you can follow me there. That is my pup in the background, but you can follow me there, or you can head to the blog. I'll post them up there too. But yeah, I'm so sorry, and I'm realizing this days later, coincidentally in the same sweatshirt, but I promise you this was recorded a while ago. So sorry, but thank you so much for hanging in there with me, and I will catch you on the next one. Forgot to mention the video will still go on. There will be some crappy audio, but I'll leave the timestamp down below to skip ahead past that audio if you just can't, like I couldn't.
It's going to be about a career change versus a career pivot. So, what are the differences? What may or may not be right for you? And why you might want to consider a career change or pivot. Okay, so let's get started. A career change is one in which you kind of have to go back to the drawing board. So in this case, you may need some form of education that you don't already have. You may need a portfolio that you may not have. You may also need some type of experience that you don't have yet. And that's what I mean in going back to the drawing board. You'll kind of have to start at that novice level again, unless you can make a strategic horizontal shift into that field that you would like to be in. But most times with a career change, you're going to have to work your way, maybe not from the bottom, but you're going to have to work your way up from somewhere lower on the totem pole than you may be right now. With a career pivot, however, you can leverage the skills, knowledge, education, expertise, and experience that you have accumulated in your current career in order to pivot into another adjacent career. Now, what that means is if you are in finance, maybe you can move into some type of financial data analytics, or maybe you can move into accounting in particular. Let's say you are a consultant and you want to niche down, you can go into accounting. If you're an accountant, then maybe you want to niche down further and you can go into tax. They're all pieces that play off of each other. Let's say you decided to go into accounting, you just have your typical general knowledge of everything, you work in the field for a couple of years, and realize it's not really fulfilling to you. It's not what you thought it would be. It's not challenging enough to you anymore. Or maybe you do like what you do, but you'd like to do things a little bit differently, or you'd like to try something different. In this case, a jump to tax or to finance or any general financial department role that can be filled, you might already have the skill set and the knowledge base in order to make that shift. Yes, you'll have to make a few tweaks and adjustments and learn some other new skills if it's not a complete match for you, but it's going to be so much easier to pivot into another financial field than it will be to completely change to, let's say, nursing, for example. In that case, you're probably going to have to go back to school, take a ton of courses, and learn and train up in a new field entirely. Unless you wanted to maybe move into healthcare, let's say, or public health in a way that's not actually patient facing, but you can move into a finance career in healthcare. If healthcare is your passion, but you also have your purpose in finance, you can merge the two by kind of making pivots. A career change, to go back to the prior example of accounting to nursing, you're going to have to start from the ground up. So there's going to be a lot of work involved in just getting the knowledge and the experience in order to get your foot in the door of that new field.
Okay, so for the 1,000,001th time, I have either lost footage or forgot to plug my mic back in. So we're going to start over again. Luckily, I think I lost far less footage this time around than the last time around. So let's say you are in the public health field and you absolutely hate everything about your job. You hate the work that you're doing, and I don't like to use the word hate, so this is extreme for me. You can't stand the actual day-to-day piece of your job. You don't really care for the people you're working with. You just don't care about absolutely anything with regard to this career. It may be time for you to consider making a change. And I say a change because you may have had a certain fervor and enthusiasm when you first got into this field, and you just can't seem to get that same motivation and determination currently anymore. And this is not to rush out and tell you need to change careers. Maybe you used to see the purpose, or logically you understand the purpose of your role or the role that you serve in public health, but it's just not there for you anymore. It doesn't fulfill you anymore. You don't see any purpose in it. That's when you might want to consider making a change. And hold up, wait a minute. Before we really get further into doing either a change or a pivot, you may also need to consider whether or not it's your role or your company. So a lot of times we may be so stuck in a negative mindset or the negative feelings that come with a job that we're not considering whether or not the role itself isn't right for us, or we're just not in the right place. And that's a little hard to determine when you've only worked in one place for umpteen years, umpteen months, or even two places umpteen years or umpteen months. Because sometimes what happens is you could be in a toxic work environment for you. So the environment may not be toxic for somebody else, but it may be toxic for you. If you are a chronic workaholic and everyone around you is also a workaholic and they enjoy that and they thrive in working overtime or extra hours or on the weekends and time that you would like to have to yourself, that may be toxic for you. That may not be toxic for them. They may enjoy that. They may be very ambitious and career driven, not to say that you're not, but that may be their jam. They may love work so much they could live at work. You may not. You may want to be with your family if you have a family. You may want to be with your significant other. You may want to just be with your friends or be by yourself. And that's okay. But you need to acknowledge and isolate whether or not your role is a part of that issue, or it's just the place, the company that's a part of that issue. And you may need to separate yourself from that company if you feel like it's not for you. And that's okay. But give yourself a chance to be sure that it's the role that's not right for you. Some people just know if it's at one or two places that that's just not the role for them. And that's great. But if you're kind of on the fence and you're not really sure, don't take any chances. Just do your thing. Leave if you have to. Get out. Okay, if I haven't said this yet, I am so sorry for the previous audio issues. I tried to fix them. They just did not do what they needed to do. Thank you so much for bearing with me. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, I've left a timestamp down in the description bar. But thank you for sticking around, and let's dive back in. We're going to have to do a boatload of research, especially whether it's a change or pivot, because there are just so many careers out there that are just developing, evolving, and springing up out of seemingly nowhere that you just don't know about. You can decide that it is time to make a change, and you may think that copywriting is the best for you. But let's say you're a very technical person and you enjoy giving instructions to people. Maybe just plain old copywriting isn't for you. Maybe you need to be in user experience or UX writing. And here's the thing, I didn't even know that UX writing was a thing until less than 6 months ago. And that's why you need to do some research. Even if you think you know where you want to change or where you want to pivot, it is so worthwhile just to do a search on careers in whatever it is that you're looking for, whether it be writing, whether it be health, whether it be finance or something creative. Just search for careers in blank, fill in your blank, and decide whether or not they seem viable to you. Because sometimes you could be in a career you never would have thought you would be in because you never knew it existed. Maybe you paved your own path, or maybe some careers are still in their infancy or their nascent stage that they still have so much room to flourish and grow. You just need to find them, to be quite honest. If you don't have any idea of what it is that you want to do, no matter change, pivot, whatever, you're gonna have to take some time to do some work to learn what it is that you want to do. And it doesn't have to be perfect on the first try. Just like life, you have many iterations of your career. So take the time to find the right next iteration for you in that moment. And it doesn't have to be you're locked into this for life. Just think of it as a stepping stone to whatever it is you'll determine your end goal is at the time of sitting down and making this plan. Now, you've done your research, you've figured out where it is that you may want to go or not go, because part of this will also be figuring out what are your absolute no chances. Let's say you don't want to have to work overtime in order to hit a certain salary. Or let's say you don't want to have to work late. Some people just want to go to work from 9 to 5 and then go home to their families, or just go home to themselves. That's fine. But know what your boundaries are. Maybe for you, you need a career where you can be free in the summertime because you just like summer. You want to be out on the beach. If you're in a cold climate like me, and you don't want to have to travel to be out on the beach. Or maybe you want to do something where you can work remotely. These are all things that you want to consider and create lists of wants and definitely not having it. And with that, you'll then hopefully be able to pick a field or a role or a place that best serves your needs. And going through all of those steps, I know that it is scary and confusing, and it can feel like you're in the wilderness. The wilderness has been this theme that's kept coming up in my spiritual life and my work life and my life. But sometimes you need to be in a state of total confusion and chaos. And that's okay, because sometimes in the confusion and the chaos, you will find clarity. And it may seem like a ton of confusion and chaos at first. Bear with me. Bear with the process, because once we start pulling the reins in and really laser focusing on what it is that we want to do or that we feel will fulfill us, because again, you're not married to any one field or one job or one thing, but it'll start to get clearer. The picture will start to go from gray, as my little cousin said about some Little Rascals shows, from black and white to color. And it'll be hard. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that this is an easy process. I think it can be a little less tough with a coach, but you still have to do the work. And I think that a lot of people expect someone to save them in the form of a coach or a friend or connections, but it's really up to you. You're going to have to do some work. You're going to have to then, once you've done all the research and the work, do some networking and potentially get your foot in the door somewhere if you're not pivoting and don't know how to properly leverage yourself. And I think that there is one person on social media that does this flawlessly. Her name is @HerCareerDoctor. I follow tons of life coaches, career coaches, resume writers, HR people, recruiters, anything that has to do with the professional realm. I probably follow most of them, particularly Black content creators around these, but @HerCareerDoctor is just absolutely amazing. I love her content because it's super innovative. She has said many things that are fact-based that I have not heard other people saying. And, you know, on social media, you tend to hear reiterations of the same few things. Not here, sis. And this isn't to knock anybody else that I follow. I will probably talk about them at a later date. But I think when it comes to career changes and pivots, @HerCareerDoctor is definitely the one to go to. I sat in on one of her lives, and just everything she said was so true and so different. And she came up with this all on her own. This is not something that she saw on somebody else's page and just spit back out. It resonated with me so much, and it was so impactful to me. I don't want to give it away. I'll try and find it and link it if I can in the description bar below. But I think that she is just absolutely amazing. If you are looking for a career coach, a Black female career coach, I recommend her hands down. I haven't worked with her. This is just from me seeing her content. So that shows you how much I enjoy her content and seemingly her personality and who she is. So hopefully go follow her. To get back to the point, we have a few things we're going to need to consider and do in order to change, pivot, or stay in our careers. So let's just do a quick recap. Okay, first, we're going to get clear on whether or not it's the role or the place. And the way to get clear on that is, do you enjoy your work? Do you enjoy the day-to-day tasks, whether or not they're mundane? Can you deal with the mundane piece of your work? Do you enjoy the work environment? Do you like your coworkers? Are you able to tolerate your coworkers? You don't even have to necessarily like them. That's great. That's definitely a perk if you like them and spend time with them, even outside of work. But can you tolerate them? Do you enjoy your total compensation and the non-comp benefits of your job? So is your base salary? Do you have equity? What else? A bonus. Do those things make you happy at that place? And do they make you happy enough to compromise anything that you don't like about your role, or compromise working on your role outside of working hours, I'll say. So that's one. Role, place. Are they a match? Are they a mismatch? Do you want to stay in the role? Do you want to stay in the place? Do you want to change the role? Do you want to change the place? Next, are we doing a career change or a career pivot? Change. I hate my job. Logically, I understand the impact of my job, the purpose of my job, who my job serves, but it's just not jiving with me. It's not fulfilling to me. It's not my purpose. I'm not being pulled to this anymore. And I need to do something radically different than what I'm doing right now. Pivot. At its core, I like my job. I enjoy what I do. I see the purpose in it. I'm driven to keep going in it. And I think I'm just bored in my current role. I think I need to be challenged more. Or I think I've reached the capacity or the growth capacity in this role, and I would like to do something different that's adjacent to my current career, but where I can have more growth or gain more knowledge or be more of a generalist. If you're not pivoting, it will be harder to get your foot in the door into a completely different career, but I have no doubts at all in you or your abilities, and neither should you. You've gotten this far in your current career, or if you feel like you haven't gotten so far in your current career, consider that it's not the career, it's you, and maybe you're just not a fit for that career if you don't really want to be in that career. And that's fine. You will find your fit and you will excel at it if you put in the work, and I highly, 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 highly recommend that you put in the work, and I believe in you. So I hope that this video was helpful, and I, again, appreciate you hanging in there and supporting me and sticking around. I absolutely adore you all, and I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you again, and I'm out. Peace. This sweatshirt, I have a bajillion of them. If you look on my Instagram, you'll probably see the one that I wear most often, which says, "I'm black mixed with black." It's from this awesome black-owned company called My Pride Apparel. I will link them down below in the description bar as well. I love these sweatshirts. I really do. They feel really soft inside, and I'm a sucker for a soft sweater or sweatshirt, crew neck, whatever the heck you want to call it. And they are just on point. The sayings, the phrases, the artwork, everything they have on their shirts, A1. I can't recommend them enough. It's Black History Month. It's Black History Month every month for me, but I really wanted to take the time to highlight some black-owned businesses, so this is one of them. Catch you later.